Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Connor on Connor's Retribution Analysis. If it's not a good morning while you're watching this, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time you may be choosing to enjoy this video. Well, first game of my Masters League, which is a league I joined where we have a month to play against 6 people. There's 6 people in our pod. We play each of them. We record the results. The top player is taken out of that pod, put into a tournament steamroller setting, and there's a wild card number of players drawn from each pod that weren't the first player. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's a good way to get me to play games. It's a good way for me to meet the people in the new meta that I'm in, because there's a lot of them. I mean, there was, I think, 6 pods of 6 or 7 players, so there's a lot of players here that just popped out of nowhere that I had no clue existed just because a Masters League was announced. So anyhow, this is Wanderer with 4 clocks against a Vyros 2 list that I think I've used before: Manticore, Imperitus, 6 Griffons, and Trident. The Wanderer list has a couple of Malady men, a couple of grave ghouls. That Witchwood back there in the back is actually a Clockatrice. And then there's a whole bunch of cask imps. And my first thoughts on this game was I'm going to try and use lots of knockdown tools because I don't want to try and kill clocks under Starcrossed and Grave Ghoul rerolls. That just sounds absolutely miserable. I want to use Lock the Target. It's something I thought would be good in this matchup, but I feel like if I do, I'm potentially getting myself killed. I really can only use it situationally if a lot of other things go first. What that means to me is that a lot of things have to activate before Vyros 2, and then if I deem it safe, I activate Vyros 2, do a Lock the Target, get to safety, chillax. I have to be very confident that a clock isn't going to time stutter a couple of times, live, heal back up, and then go kill Vyros 2. Because I feel like that's how Vyros 2 dies. Really, when I look at this list, the only actual meat are 4 clocks, and then just a bunch of support. So I just got to find a way to kill clocks. And that being said, this house is horrible for me. Wanderer can comfortably, no matter what side I choose, get right behind it with his grave ghouls back there and affect a large part of the board that's very relevant, and there's not much I can do about it. It's going to be very hard for me to make a difference. So to counter that, I'm going to try and send Imperitus up the side and try and thread a sidestep assassination. It's with his Trump Arcana, where he can go to one of his road markers. I don't really know if it's a valid assassination, but whatever, I'm going to put it there. He also has 4 Crabbits, so Trident isn't going to have a huge effect. I want to put Trident over on this side, and I'm thinking about it, but I'm just... it doesn't really matter which side I choose with Trident. I feel like my goal with the Trident is to shoot down grave ghouls. That's also to do slams, to slam either my own models into clocks and knock them down, or slam clocks into clocks. He went up. He went first, and Longfellow shot some of his little cask imps so they could get corpses on the grave ghouls. However, the grave ghouls walked, and then he shot them. What I think should have happened is the grave ghouls need to get up the board. They should have run. Then Longfellow should have walked up and capped all the madcaps so that they could get the corpses. And you could even just find some way, if you have any type of AoE effect, get all the madcaps in a pile on deployment, walk the grave ghouls up to them, and just blow them all up that way. That would be the most effective, efficient use of resources, in my opinion. Because even Longfellow, this whole game, all he's doing is shooting cask imps. And yeah, the corpses on the grave ghouls are amazing, and that is the ultimate goal. That's what you want. But I don't even know if something like that exists. Maybe do a clock spray, but then a clock is sitting too far back. I don't know. There's got to be something there. I love the idea of getting those corpses for the rerolls. I'm just I next level it. Take it to the next level would be ideal. If there even is one, I might just be spouting on about something that doesn't exist. I don't know. It's Longfellow killing them is fine. It's a good idea. Anyhow, moving on. Okay. So I'm gonna create a concave like this, and that the idea is that if all his clocks just fly into me and he puts them under Starcross and says, "What are you gonna do about it?" I can try my Magister and I can try my Trident slamming Manticore into them. I can also try slamming them into each other. But the reason for the concave is my Griffins can then start trying to slam. And I should have lots and lots of attempts to get a slam. And as soon as the clock is slammed, I feel like with the auto hits, not needing to roll to hit, so I can't be forced to reroll, and not going under Starcrossed. That's where I need to be. Because I think a Griffin should be able to bring down clocks. They're 12, 18 with high 20s for boxes, I think. So yeah, I end up in this position right here. Very carefully measured out. Even if Wanderer lands his Fleet and Beacon, none of these clocks can get to Trident. They can get to this Griffin, and they can get to this Griffin. And if they really want to, they could get to this Griffin as well. But I feel like then Wanderer would put himself in a spot where his road marker tokens won't be far enough away, and Imperitus could actually eat him. Because I could run a Griffin and touch all those road marker tokens, and then no matter where he ends up, Imperitus is going to get there. And, you know, things could happen. Maybe Trident tries to shoot him down. I don't know. Stuff can happen. So, he takes the bait. He sends in one clock on this Griffin, one clock on this Griffin, and he keeps the other two clocks back. And Wanderer comes up to right behind the house in that really good spot that I was talking about earlier. However, Grave Ghouls are still too far back, and they're stuck behind all their stuff. So, first part of the plan, Trident comes over here. Oh, and there's also two Trapperkin right here. Oh, and he ambushed his Murder Crows on the side, and yes, they are all back there running behind my Trident. So Trident comes over, or Griffin smacks that guy, that Murder Crow, and smacks Clock to build synergy, and so that way Trident doesn't take a free strike. Trident is going to start the slam party, and he comes over here, and he boosts at a slam. It's under Starcross, but out of Grave Ghoul range. So at Mat 7 from Veteran Leader from Vyros, I feel pretty good about that. And he slams the clock. Unfortunately, it goes over my own Griffin. Once that happens, I can now make plans for killing that clock. So it's a great thing to start building up synergy on. So Griffin comes up and starts beating the crap out of it, and you know, he gets some focus. And it time stutters away, still knocked down. But synergy's up to 2. So Manticore, I want this Magister right here to slam this Manticore into the clock. So Manticore walks up to the clock, and the goal is just to build a little synergy and get a little bit of damage done. He gets a little bit of damage on, and the clock time stutters away. Also, a lesson I learned from this is clocks do kill Griffins somewhat reliably, and if they get onto a Griffin, which is very good information for me to know for the survivability, the value of a Griffin. He time stutters away, but I can still do the slam thing. So Magister comes up needing to roll a 3 to hit the Manticore in the back under Starcrossed. Also still not in Grave Ghoul rerolls. And he does slam the... oh, no, sorry. He had pop Accursed at this point. So I was -1 to hit and -1 to damage for... I think he had popped it. So I needed a 4. I was able to hit it under Starcrossed, slammed the Manticore. I think I needed to roll a 2 or higher. So he slams into the clock. Clock is knocked down. Then Griffins just start swarming all over the 2 clocks that are knocked down. And I think Imperitus went in and finished one off. And that's about the highlight of the turn. Trident also, I think, shot a couple of these guys. Oh, and Trident put a lot of shots into this first clock right here. So it was already time stuttering all over the place. I think a lot of these guys I just ignored. They're not really in the picture, but I think Vyros meleeed one to death and shot another. Or no, he couldn't shoot him because they had stealth. So that's where we're at. I put a Griffon pretty deep into his lines, got rid of the 2 clocks, and I'm contesting pretty decently. My Vyros 2 feet is up just because I don't know. I don't want to watch him kill my objective, kill this Griffon, kill the Trident, and go up 3 points. So I am popping feet this turn to prevent a scenario situation. And I don't know if the clock can do it, or if this clock can do it over here. I don't really want to take the chance. I also don't know what would kill his objective, but I guess there's really not a crazy ton of damage output for this list. I guess I'm just thinking about it. Like, in my head, that's the gameplay back into the game, because Vyros 2 is way safe over there. So he pops his Trapperkin out, and he wants to go for an assassination run. Wanderer hops over the wall, puts Fleet and Beacon onto Vyros 2. This Griffon is knocked down, and he spins himself so he's not engaged. Then all the Murder Crows charge Vyros 2 in the back. Vyros 2 has a 5 camp on him, and they come in at POW 12s, I think. Or no, it was like POW 9 Weapon Masters. Or it was something where after I had basically 1 shave for each of them, and it just didn't really pan out to very much damage. Trapperkin also charges Vyros 2, and also kind of same situation. I think he was the POW 9 Weapon Master. Just I shave it all, doesn't add up to a whole lot of damage. He was a Weapon Master though, so it could have been a lot of damage. It just didn't work out. So after that, Grave Ghouls come up, Clocks come up, and he kind of gets everything in my face, but Wanderer's still right here, and he puts out some road marker tokens, and we have a map like this. Now I can continue to test this theory of how to kill Clocks, because at this point I feel pretty good about my ability to kill Clocks. I haven't tried to do it under Grave Ghouls though, because if I'm being forced to reroll to hit for my slams, that might really be an issue, but I think I can get the dice math pretty reliable by basically just slamming my own heavies. I'd even slam Imperitus if I had to, just to make it reliable for killing Clocks. Imperitus also, if he wasn't under Starcross and wasn't under rerolls, can probably sidestep around and kill Clocks pretty well. So let's talk about this assassination attempt. Road marker token, knockdown Griffon, and then there's another road marker token right there in front of Imperitus. And then there's a couple of Crabbits around him. So here's my cute, sweet little plan. This Griffon's in the way. He's going to go over and he's going to bash that little monkey, and he's going to smack the clock to build some synergy. Trident flies over to right here, still engaged to the clock. Uses power-up token and places the Griffon right there, within 1 inch of the Trident and within 1 inch of Wanderer. And then it's a knockdown Griffon. I'm under Grave Ghoul, but that's fine because I don't need to roll dice to hit him. I do my smite. I smite my slam or my knockdown Griffon right over the top of Wanderer. I don't go far enough to hit the road marker token. That would have been sweet. And then Trident just starts shooting, basically into the knockdown Wanderer. It is under Starcrossed. I do have to roll to hit, and he's making me re-roll him, but it's not double ones because I'm a 7 and he's a 7 under Fog of War. So there is a double 1 in there, and I think I roll 1, 1, 3 for my shots. He has, I think, 3 transfers. 1 misses, so 1 goes past his transfers. Then this Griffon walks over here, he runs to touch all these road marker tokens and gets out of the way. And so now that those are out of position, I mean, it would have been fine if they weren't. Some crabs just move around. There's not really much that can get in the way at this point. He tries to block off his back road marker token better. But I just start going and bopping some other things to build up synergy with Griffons and Manticores. And Vyros 2 has people over here to bop. He has a great many of them. So there's just this last road marker token up. Labyrinth was popped from my feet moves last turn. So I'm a little bit slower, but Imperitus can still most definitely get there. Yeah, this Trident could only fly 5, so I got very lucky that it worked out, that I was able to make that happen. So Imperitus goes charging Wanderer across the map. He hits him, and I start sidestepping right away to his... so it's after the attack is resolved. Because this Griffon right here is over here, and he moves some other stuff in the way when I hit the road markers. But yeah, Imperitus smacks Wanderer and hits him really, really good, and he does his little feet movement thing back to there from the Trump Arcana. And then Imperitus off the sidestep from him, sidesteps over to him, and puts him the rest of the way into the dirt. And that's that. So... I think this Wanderer 4 clocks list is very scary. I think it's very good. I did not want to drop Gareth 2 into it, which was my other pairing, because I'm worried Gareth 2 dies easier than Vyros 2. And I'm also worried under the rerolls and everything. I'm worried about my ability to deal with the grave ghouls, even though I have lots of shots and all that. Being under Starcrossed with the lots of shots and having to boost and the focus efficiency, and I want to use mortality on it. It just seems like there's more things that can go wrong, whereas I feel like Griffons are super, just the knockdowns, and the Griffons and lock the target. I felt like I had more comfort and more tools here. Yeah, thank you for watching, and let me know what you think. This was my first game against clocks, I believe, and they're pretty spooky, because I think if he hadn't brought them right to my doorstep in trade for Griffons, and they get the alpha on me, which is something he can kind of bait by putting his clocks in range of no more than 3 Griffons. And so what that means is I don't have any knockdown tools, and the Griffons are going to have to build up synergy, and they're going to be under rerolls and Starcrossed. And that's what I mean by he can bait an alpha out of me. That would be really bad for me. It would just be setting him up so that there would be a lot of Griffons in his face. And if 4 clocks kill 4 Griffons, whew, that's rough on me. Doesn't feel good, and that's not a place I want to necessarily be. So it would be a dance game, and I'd like to see how that game plays out. But thank you for watching, and yeah, thank you for watching.